My name is Catherine, and today I will be discussing two core areas of emotional intelligence, them being self regard and self awareness. The first core area I'm going to discuss is self awareness. From the article that I read on emotional intelligence regarding this topic, it referenced Daniel Goleman's definition of self awareness, which is one's ability to manage their emotions, particularly in stressful situations, and being able to identify physical triggers and how to best cope in a healthy and productive way, which I will jump into next. So, self awareness has to do with accepting oneself and engaging in self confident behaviors. And that begins with being able to identify your feelings and how those feelings change our thoughts, and subsequently how those thoughts affect the behaviors we engage in. This is a huge factor in productivity in the workplace, but also just in interpersonal relationships in general, whether it be with professional colleagues or with friends in one's personal life. And some of the things to discuss regarding self awareness are asking yourself, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So, are you a natural born leader? Are you more calm in stressful situations? Do you tend to have anxiety or high levels of nervousness in stressful situations? These are important questions to reflect on in order to obtain a better sense of self awareness. The next facet I'm going to discuss is having confidence in oneself. So, after assessing your strengths and weaknesses, it's a matter of embracing both sides, addressing that these are my strengths. I am responsible, I am punctual, I am a quick learner, but then also having the courage to address one's areas for growth and being receptive to that positive feedback. And this all of these steps come together in with the intention of better understanding yourself, and as a result you are better equipped to understand others. So being self-aware can be very beneficial in reducing one's stress. So in this article on self-awareness, it identified 3 simple steps that one could apply in reducing stress, because stress can lead to a lot of negative emotions if one is not self-aware. So the first step is to realize the onset of the stress. How was it triggered? What circumstance initiated that? And this can occur when one takes the time to identify the sensations in the body that are different. For example, a racing heartbeat, sweaty palms, shaky hands and fingers, or a fiery feeling in the chest. These are good ways and indicators of identifying stress. The second step is then to be able to know how you respond to that stress. Do you respond by becoming easily irritated and lashing out at the people around you? Do you withdraw in a depressed manner? And do you isolate yourself? Or do you um, act anxious and really nervous? Does your voice change? Do you speed up your process? Um, and so being able to identify those different emotions comes with being more self aware, and it comes with knowing your triggers. So then the final step in reducing that stress, after you've identified the source of that stress and after you have identified the emotions tied to that stress, how you respond to it, the third step is being able to use sensory inputs that are best tailored to your needs in order to reduce that stress. For example, if you have more of an inclination to be soothed by calming music or auditory stimuli, then gravitate toward that. Or if you would prefer to be calmed down by looking at visual stimuli, then try to find visually pleasing stimuli to help you. Or if it's taking deep breaths, engage in that activity. So being more self aware can help a person reduce stress in a quick and timely manner so that they can move forward in their day, whether it's in the workplace, an unexpected phone call arises, or an unexpected conflict comes up with a colleague. Being able to know oneself and reduce that stress can help better equip someone to resolve those conflicts. Also related to self-awareness is being aware of your body language. Our body language can speak more volumes than simply our words. Body language can be how we move our hands, or if our arms are crossed, or if we shake our head a certain way, or if we refuse to make eye contact. The people around us can pick up on our body language as clues to how we are actually feeling, even if we say that we are fine. And being able to enhance your own awareness of your body language and being cognizant of how you use that body language toward other people can help improve trust with others, which can be very beneficial in the workplace. So, the overall intent is to align the words that you are saying with your body language so that the message you are giving out to your colleagues or to the people in your life is clear and unified so that it's not like you're saying one thing but then behaving another way. And these skills that I've described, stress reduction and nonverbal communication and being aware of yourself, can be really helpful in healthy and positive conflict resolution. And I think the first step is realizing that conflicts will arise no matter where you go. Conflicts arise in our friendships and personal relationships. Conflicts also arise within the workplace, especially in high stress and fast-paced work environments where there's a high demand to produce a certain quality product or to provide high quality services to a certain demographic. These can be very stressful situations that affect our human emotions. So, therefore, having a strong sense of self awareness can help oneself resolve conflicts and, as a result, also produce trust between you and others around you. And some simple steps to work toward conflict resolution, as described in this first article, were to focus on the present reality. That means leaving past resentments, past hurts, past annoyances in the past. Those are forgotten. They are not related to the present reality. You're only focusing on the facts of the present, on the details that are pertinent to the problem you're trying to solve. Second step in healthy conflict resolution is picking your battles. It's not worth it to stress out over little mistakes that your colleague made or something that went wrong that is now out of your control. It can't be fixed. All you can do is look at the situation and move forward. So it's really important to be cognizant of the battles that you are fighting and to remember that you and your colleagues are on the same team. You're working toward the same vision, you're working toward the same mission, and that's the most important thing to remember. And then finally, I already kind of touched on this, but it's to release resentments that you may have towards someone and forgive them because it's not worth holding on to that anger or that unforgiveness when it's going to affect your work when you're the one suffering in that anger and hurt. It's not hurting the other person to stay angry at them, it's only hurting yourself. So the sooner one can release that resentment and move forward, then the more productive they will be in the workplace. So now I'm going to touch on our second core area, which is self regard. And this article was provided by a training institute and mission critical training for individuals seeking to better themselves in corporate organizations and to gain a better sense of self in the workplace. So, a person's self regard refers to how we feel about ourselves and our ability to accept ourselves. And I appreciated the quote that I included here on this slide. You build inner strength through embracing the totality of your experience, both the delightful parts and the difficult parts. So, having a strong sense of self regard does not mean that you only accept the desirable qualities that you have, but it's also being aware of parts that you're still working on and improving, the difficult parts, and being aware that you're always a work in progress, that nothing is perfect, and that it's perfectly okay to make mistakes. And so we'll get into some healthy coping mechanisms with this in just a moment. So, some signs of positive self regard are being able to accept your strengths, being able to accept your weaknesses, being receptive to constructive criticism, and taking ownership when you do make mistakes. Now, I really want to touch on the signs of low self regard that this article touched on, which is either you're too timid and you have a low self esteem because you're hiding all of your insecurities, so you have a low self confidence. It can also be denying the strength that you do have, perhaps being too humble and not putting yourself out there and letting the world know that you are strong and capable. On the flip side of that, in order to overcompensate for one's insecurities, this can come across as having an excess of confidence or being too confident, too arrogant. And either way, this can come across as being a need to overcompensate for one's weaknesses or shortcomings. This article provided some helpful tools to improve your self regard by just identifying at least 3 qualities that you really admire in yourself. And then on the flip side of that, identify 3 areas of improvement. Identify areas that you want to work on. And to grow from that, come up with strategies that you're going to implement on a daily basis to grow and improve as a person, professionally or personally. And then finally, this comes down to admitting when you're wrong and showing others around you that you can take ownership, because when you do that, they will respect you even more. And all of these areas that I've described in self awareness and self regard, they can have a strong influence in decision making for managers in the planning, organizing, controlling, and influencing processes that they have to work on a regular basis. Um, this can also impact the organizational culture. Do our employees willing to work together and help each other out? Are they close knit? Are they open? Are they professional? The way that a manager engages in emotional intelligence by being aware of his or herself and how they interact with their subordinates plays a role on the organizational culture. Also, this can be reflected in how leadership executes the mission. Are they tied to the company's goals, and are they selling that to the rest of the employees in a positive way that gets the employees on board? Are they influencing and motivating employees to give their best work? And then also, their actions determine how the employees relate to them. Do employees feel comfortable coming to managers and expressing concerns? Do they feel motivated to come to work every day and produce 100% quality services? The areas of self awareness and self regard in a manager's point of view has an influence on all 4 points that I just described. And so, long story short, both articles on self awareness and self regard provide simple, useful tools for an employee or a manager or an administrative team to engage in ongoing self assessments in order to better their workplace. Thank you.